Our sermon based on Romans 8:26-27. Title: The Helper in Our Weakness. Romans 8:26-27. Likewise the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what to pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And he who searches hearts knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, have you ever felt like you didn't know what to pray for? Have you ever felt like your words were inadequate, or that you just didn't know how to express what was on your heart? You're not alone. In fact, the Apostle Paul tells us that this is a common experience for all of us. In Romans 8, Paul writes that we do not know what to pray for as we ought. This is a humbling admission, isn't it? The great Apostle Paul, who wrote so much of the New Testament, who planted churches and preached to kings, who suffered and endured so much for the sake of the gospel. Even he didn't know what to pray for. But here's the good news. We have a helper. The Spirit helps us in our weakness. When we don't know what to pray for, the Spirit intercedes for us. When our words are inadequate, the Spirit groans on our behalf with groanings too deep for words. This is an incredible truth. The Spirit of God, who dwells within us, who seals us as children of God, who gives us life and power, this same Spirit helps us in our weakness. He takes our faltering prayers, our half-formed thoughts, our inarticulate groanings, and he turns them into prayers that are according to the will of God. But how does this work? How does the Spirit help us to pray? First, the Spirit gives us the desire to pray. He stirs within us a hunger to connect with God, to seek His face, to ask for His help. Second, the Spirit gives us the words to pray. He takes our stumbling attempts at prayer and He shapes them into prayers that are pleasing to God. Third, the Spirit prays on our behalf. When we don't know what to pray for, the Spirit intercedes for us, praying for us with groanings too deep for words. And finally, the Spirit gives us confidence in our prayers. He reminds us that we are children of God, that we have access to the throne of grace, that our prayers are heard and answered by our loving Father. So let us not be discouraged when we don't know what to pray for. Let us not be afraid to come to God with our weaknesses, our doubts, our fears, for the Spirit helps us in our weakness, and He turns our prayers into prayers that are according to the will of God. May God bless you all.